Ever since they added auxiliary flagships, I've been wondering which crew members should we actually be using to captain those flagships. And in this video, we're going to test 3 different crew members to see which are the very best. We're going to get a look at John Smith Connor, we're going to get a look at Robbie Sonny Nicholas, and we'll even get a peek at Awesome Rich. So stick around in this video to figure out which of these crew members actually delivers. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and in this video, sponsored by the makers of Infinite Galaxy, I want to figure out which crew member makes for a great auxiliary flagship crew member. Because let me tell you, my captaining strategy here for my flagships, now that I've got 3 fleets that I'm working on, I've got the Artemis paired with the Orion, and I've got the Cyclops paired with the Hephaestus, and last but not least, I'm just starting to work on the Hades paired with the Poseidon. And I realized I needed captains for these auxiliary flagships. And my strategy, as you saw, has been to take the specific type of warship captains and to use them here rather than in my space station for the crew there. And the reason I'm doing this, using Amelia Irving for destroyers, and Flamingo as a captain for frigates, and Goodman as a captain for cruisers, is that in the new game mode where we're battling against other alliances, I find myself running out of warships. And so I need to lean on different tiers of warships, so I want to make sure that my captain will benefit whatever tier of warship that I'm using. This is why I don't bring captains that do specific damage type. I leave them in my wartime crew. So I started to run out of options for crew to use in my wartime crew, but also to have captains for my flagships. So we're going to run a test, and we're going to do this with 2 flagship combinations. We'll start, by the way, with testing with the Hephaestus and the Cyclops. And I'm going to use this crew member right over here, John Smith Connor. This is where we're going to start, and then we'll test these other crew members, and we'll get a look at the results and see how they perform. So we're going to battle some level 35 privateers to get this done and compare the results, and we'll see how they stack up. I think we'll be pleasantly surprised to see that there's perhaps more crew options than you might have realized. And keep in mind that I have them all at level 1, these different captains that I'm using as a secondary that I'm going to swap in. But their rank is different, potentially. So that's certainly relevant. We'll talk about that in a bit. Here we go. First fight, bada boom. Level 35 pirate. Yeah, I got a little bit of repairs, which is a bummer. And we've got 2,640 damaged warship. Let's get a look over here and swap this out. We take John Smith Connor, thank you for your service, and bring in Robbie Sonny Nicholas. Now, as I mentioned, she is 4 ranks higher than the crew member we just used. So when we do this again, you would expect the result to be significantly better, right? But will it be? Here we go. We're on our way over. Remember, the number that we have to beat is 2,640. And then we can assume that she's better. Now, I would much rather not use Robbie Sonny Nicholas, if I can swing it, as a crew member here. I want her in my space station crew because she gives me warship building speed. Hell yeah, that's what I want her for. I don't want her as a captain. I get that she's got a lot of armor, so we're going to try her out. But if I could use somebody else, that would be amazing. 2,550. So at rank 12, she did get a better result compared to my rank 8 of the other captain. But, like, it wasn't that far off, right? Like, I would still use her. I would much rather use her in the spaceport for warship building and use John Smith Connor as my secondary for, a captain here. But let's do one other swap real quick. The other crew member I wanted to try is Rich. And Spartan, who's the highest power player in my nebula, kind of turned me on to this idea as Rich being a weaker version of Laura when you use him as a crew member. There is one other change I do need to make before battling here, which is that he gives leadership boost. So perhaps I should show that very briefly, that the benefit of using him as a crew member is that, okay, I get flagship hit points. That's kind of irrelevant here, but the leadership boost of 600, that ain't bad. And that does stack up. I don't have him ranked up all that much, you know? So let's go now and we'll smash level 35, privateer, ready, go. It also, by the way, is the Galaxy Star event for pirates, so there is an advantage to smashing the highest level pirate that is available to me, and that is for the extra points, baby, even though that does give me a little bit of a repair bill, whereas if I hit a 34, I would have no repair bill, for the record. So here we go, smashing into this thing. Is it better or is it worse? I don't know. Let's get a look here. 2,490. So if we compare the three, here is John Smith Connor, 2,640. Here is Robbie Sonny Nicholas, 2,550, and 2,490 is the definite winner over here. Yeah, I'm going to use Rich. That's the crew member I'm going to use for this fleet. I do need one more crew member, though, and I think I'll drop them in over here. I'm going to use John Smith Connor. Now, actually, before I include them here, there is one other test that I would like to run, and as my fleet returns home, we can run it, which is that I've got the Orion and the Artemis, great flagships, and I wonder if the result is going to be different if I use the crew on these flagships instead of the ones that I was using. So is the fact that I'm doing better with Rich because I'm using that specific combination of flagships? Well, one easy way to find out, which we'll go test right now, is to go in and run the exact same experiment. So I'm using the Artemis as the secondary because you can see the leadership boost is based on level, but not tier of flagship. So the fact that I'm using a legendary or an epic tier as the primary doesn't matter. All that matters is the higher level as the primary for the extra leadership boost. So I'm going to get rid of Flamingo, who is the captain of the auxiliary flagship. That is the Artemis. Great flagship, right? And let's run this in the exact same order. We're going to board with John Smith Connor, and we're going to take this for a spin. We are going to battle a level 35 privateer. Smash them, baby. Oh, hold on. Okay, had to reduce my leadership limit there just because I haven't actually leveled up any of these crew members yet. So here we go. Let's smash and see how this compares. Bada boom. In on the action. Taking this thing down pretty effectively when compared to my cruisers and the other fleet that I was using. That's because both of these flagships are nearly maxed. 1,311 damaged warships worth of, I guess that's leadership worth of warships. Anyways, 1,311, the lower the number is, the better. So let's run that again, but this time, Robbie Sonny Nicholas. Now, this is going to be really interesting because, dude, these flagships already have a ton of armor. So I don't know how much more armor does for me. Does stacking it up more help more, or is there diminishing returns on that? I don't know, but let's smash a level 35 and find out how we do. Here we go. On our way over to the privateers. We know that this fleet obviously did better than my other fleet, but let's see if, in fact, the crew members and their influence will change substantially based on the flagships that I'm using. Here we go. Battle is nearly complete. The remaining units looked about the same, and 1,338. In fact, curiously enough, John Smith Connor is better in this instance. Oh, man. Okay, 1,311. Wow. Versus 1,338. And by the way, let me just prove something here. If I run the same fight twice, do I get the exact same result? I think I will. So I think we can look at these results and say, no, yeah, these are definitive for what they are here. So if you already have lots of armor, it kind of makes sense that, like, at some point there's a diminishing return, and getting more armor maybe is not the thing that elevates you the most, given that I've got the Artemis and the Orion, which give insane amounts of armor. Let's get a look here. And the result is, in fact, 100% identical. So now we'll go and we'll make one last swap. Robbie, Sunny, Nicholas, see you later. And let's bring in Rich. Board. And let's go, baby. We bring Rich. We smash this pirate after I increase my leadership. Thank you very much. And here we go. Now, I like bringing more warships. I think that seems to be really good, especially in the Galaxy Summit. But let's see how the results stack up. And this may not actually be as good. Here we go. 1,353. And I had more units that needed repair. Worse, as it turns out. This I find very fascinating. The whole thing is very fascinating. I think this opens up a big can of worms for a lot of testing that probably needs to be done here. But what I will say is that which captain is going to be best is going to depend on the flagship combination that you use. And it does seem that if you have something more tanky, then bringing something that balances that, more punch, is really valuable. That's what I did with John Smith Connor in the first battle over here, compared to bringing more units, which actually was the worst. Whereas with cruisers, weirdly enough, bringing more cruisers worked out really well. In fact, that was the best option, and having the boost to armor was really good. And the least beneficial thing was giving myself more punch, because I think the Cyclops and Hephaestus, man, they already have a lot of punch. So getting more tankiness was really good, and having more warships to share the burden was the best of all, because, I mean, they're already doing so much damage. So having more warships means all the warships are doing a lot of damage. I don't know. These, I think, are some really interesting results. I'm going to have to level up some crew to make some final decisions to figure out who exactly goes where. But I will say, in the grand scheme of things, I am pretty happy with my Laura as the captain of the Orion, but maybe I should be reconsidering that entirely. That is entirely possible that what I just saw is that I need more punch as the front of this sort of tip of this spear rather than using Laura, which I guess she is doing some amount of flagship damage, flagship attack, to be fair. But, you know, the 1,320 leadership limit boost maybe isn't what this combination of flagships really needs. But let's go and just bump that back to Michael Flamingo. I'm happy with that. For the time being, I'm going to put my winner over here in the Hephaestus, and that was Rich. So I'm going to board with Rich. And, you know, for the longer term project that I've got cooking up for now, I'm going to drop in John Smith Connor. And although Robbie Sunny Nicholas did do slightly better than John Smith Connor, she's ranked up way more. So of course she did slightly better. I'm actually going to take her back where she belongs, in my opinion, which is keeping her in your crew formation so that you can train warships faster. That to me feels like a no-brainer choice. So I actually need to demote her, rip, and then I can put her back into my training crew. I'll do that now so I don't forget. Here we go. Robbie Sunny Nicholas. Yeah, good testing with you. Rip, demote, demote. 400 corium to run that test. I'm pretty comfortable having done that. In fact, I'm very happy that I did, because I think we all learned some pretty valuable stuff there, that the crew members you use is, of course, going to depend on the flagship pairs you bring, and there are some alternatives that you might not have thought of, and most people aren't bringing more than 3 combinations of fleets anyways, so I feel like we landed in a pretty good spot there. I do have one placeholder in my wartime crew, and that is Bolt, and he's just there to give me some points, and I probably need to replace him with somebody else, but, like, I don't know. Who do I use for the wartime crew? I don't want to use a blue crew member. Ugh. For now, I think I stall and just keep using a logistics crew member, and we'll see how that goes. If you found this video helpful, do me a favor, throw a like on here, and consider subscribing. And until next time, you have fun smashing your nebula, and leave a comment down below if you thought these results were insightful, or if you have other ideas for crew members that make for great secondary or auxiliary flagship captains.